Ever been halfway through a run wishing you could ditch your phone? Or wanting to try some new gels but know where to actually stash them? As runners, we tend to hold on to more than just our local legend statuses on Strava. And for almost 2 years now, I've been using the SPIbelt quite extensively to carry most of my gear when out on my runs. From my phone to, well, I'll admit, my ego as well. And after almost 2 years and 4 marathons later using the SPIbelt, is it actually worth it? The SPIbelt, which is actually an acronym for Small Personal Items, is a lightweight adjustable running belt that, as the name suggests, can hold small items like your keys, phone, wallet, and even your running gels when out there for a run. A key feature is the expandable spandex pocket that can really fit in quite a bit. It's actually a little deceiving at first when you go to pick one up, unsure if it'll even fit in a running gel. There's a plastic clip at the back of the belt for easy securing around your waist before a run, as well as a couple of adjusters on the elastic strap itself for tightening up if needed. I managed to pick up my first SPIbelt for 45 Australian dollars when starting my running journey back in 2023. So now, how I've used the SPIbelt over the course of my running journey. Now, the key reason that I actually purchased one of these was my Garmin Forerunner 5.5 doesn't have the Spotify capabilities where my AirPods could actually connect directly to the watch. So I actually needed to look for something to hold on to my phone during my runs, finding that running with my phone in my hand for 20 plus kilometers actually drove me insane to the point where I just wanted to throw it out. And I'll admit, I've used the SPIbelt for almost every single one of my runs since starting my running journey. The only time that I won't use this during the week is during my long runs, where I'll have my running vest to store my gels, my phone, as well as my soft flasks with water or electrolytes in them. So right from my recovery runs on a Monday through to my quality sessions on Tuesdays and Thursdays where I was pushing the pace, the SPIbelt really stood the test of time. The key items that my SPIbelt usually contains are my phone, my house keys to actually get back into my house after a run, as well as a gel if I do feel like I need a bit of a pick-me-up halfway through a run. Upon getting the SPIbelt, I decided to experiment to see if placement was better on the front of my body or at the back too, finding when I did try to put it on my back during the Chicago Marathon, it would just flap like crazy, which supposedly SPIbelts aren't supposed to flap as much too, but yeah, going into my next section, we'll talk a little bit more about that. So now let's get into my personal thoughts on the SPIbelt themselves and if they're really worth it. To be honest, again, this is probably one of the running accessories that I've used the most since starting my running journey. And I'll be honest, I'll get halfway through a run sometimes, forgetting that I've even got my phone in the SPIbelt attached to my waist too. So it does a pretty good job if you're holding minimal items in it and yeah, really not bouncing at all. Thinking of it now, during my weekly runs where I've just got my phone in the SPIbelt, I've never experienced any discomfort at all when it came to running with it. Getting into my longer runs during the week, especially during the Australian summer, I find that the SPIbelt collects quite a lot of sweat too. So something to be mindful about if you plan on running with your phone in the SPIbelt itself too. I know a quick trick that I've seen some other runners also use is to put their phone in a Ziploc bag and then put it into your SPIbelt. So it's a bit of a waterproofing technique there. But so far, I haven't had any experiences where my phone's just decided to stop working. It just needs a bit of a wipe down after a run here and there. While the SPIbelt does have a lot of benefits, especially when it comes to your easy runs throughout the week, I myself have experienced a few downfalls since using it for almost 2 years now. With the non-bounce feature that SPIbelt claims to have, I feel like it doesn't factor in the iPhone 14 Pro. Now, I'll admit, this thing is the biggest brick I've ever owned and the heaviest phone that I'll never get again, but I did find as I've gone on into my running journey, have had to tighten the belt quite significantly because of the bounce factor when it came to my phone too. Mainly noticing it in my quality sessions when pushing like your 6x800s or 3x miles at quite a quick pace. Speaking of the waistband though, I do feel like my phone is the reason to blame for the waistband itself getting so loose. I'm actually only, we'll look at it now, probably a few centimeters away before I end up running out of room to tighten it too. So that's one key piece that I would just note in terms of longevity of an item like this, but I feel like it's planned obsolescence, honestly, to get you to buy more. So I myself own 2 SPIbelts. Now, when we get to marathon race day, I'll use both of them for 2 reasons. Firstly, trying to fit 6 gels in one, which is the amount of fuel I like to give myself on a marathon race, is a bit of an overload in one belt itself, and you'll find that it will just shake up and down like crazy. Trust me, I've tried it, experimented, it just doesn't work. That's why I decided to use 2 for the marathon to even out the distribution. So 3 in one belt, 3 in the other 2, and I'll likely usually have non-caffeinated in one and then caffeinated in the other. I did have quite the issue though in the Chicago Marathon deciding to carry my brick of an iPhone and having my belts actually get all caught up and tangled to the point where it actually left a bruise and a bit of scarring on my hip as well. So that was the one time where I did experience discomfort with the SPIbelts. So now the final question, is the SPIbelt actually worth it? Now, I'm going to have to say yes. Like, again, this is one of the running accessories that I've used the most since starting my running journey. Now, if you're a runner that enjoys listening to music, podcasts, or even audiobooks and need somewhere other than those massive armbands to store your phone, would highly recommend investing in a SPIbelt there. But also, if you're a runner starting to look at experimenting with nutrition, so maybe it's a new gel flavor you're wanting to try out on something that's not quite your long runs on the weekend, or if you're just wanting to store, say, some chews just for a bit of a pick-me-up and boost, would highly recommend the SPIbelt as a small little item to have nutrition pretty much ready at the forefront. I'll finish with this one note too. If you're someone looking at marathon nutrition storage options, I would highly advise against using just one SPIbelt to hold all of your race nutrition. It just doesn't work holding 6 to 8 gels in the one thing, because it just ends up being a massive kangaroo pouch that just bounces around everywhere. A workaround that I found worked for me in my second marathon was using the SPIbelt to hold 4 gels and then using my running shorts, which had some loops to hold additional gels, holding 2 of those there for 6 gels in total for me to access. Though my gold star experience has come when I've used 2 SPIbelts. That way, holding 3 in one, 3 in the other, and not worrying about my gels falling out of my shorts halfway through the marathon. So there we have it, friends. My thoughts on the SPIbelt, and is it worth it after using it for almost 2 years now. I hope you found this first video on the Worth It series insightful, and I'm hoping to continue this with multiple pieces of running gear that I've used in my marathon journey now, and just how worth it they actually are. If you're keen on sticking around to watch some more of my content, YouTube recommends you might like this one here now. I'm Jack, and I'll see you next time. Catch ya.